The other day, I was packing an order of angry little Asian girl plush dolls to send to a museum gift shop, and it occurred to me how remarkable this moment was because she almost didn't exist. Let me tell you the story of how she came to be. So let me take you back through time. Well, not that far back. Let's go back to college. When I was an angsty college student, one of the classes I took during my sophomore year was Asian American Studies taught by Professor Ronald Takaki. Now, I want to spend some time here to give Professor Takaki his props. I was very lucky to have been his student because he was a pioneer of ethnic studies. He made it his life's work to rewrite American history to include Asian Americans. He wrote many, many books, his most popular being A Different Mirror, A History of Multicultural America, A Different Mirror for Young People, Strangers from a Different Shore, Iron Cages, Hiroshima, Why America Dropped the Atomic Bomb. During one of his lectures, he described how the lack of representation of Asians in the media caused a host of problems, from economic to political and even psychological. When the professor described this feeling of being unseen, it occurred to me that this had a lot to do with why I was angsty. Not only did I feel unseen and unheard in America, but being a girl made my voice unimportant in my Korean home. As I was listening to the lecture, I doodled a drawing and wished for someone to make an Asian doll that could be sold in stores. But that was just a fleeting thought, and I tucked my doodle away and went on with my life, which was deliberating between whether I wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer. During college, I was chronically sad. My friend noted my melancholy and invited me to an animation festival at the Palace of Fine Arts in San Francisco. The cartoons were supposed to lighten my mood, but they deeply upset me. They were all racist and sexist. One that completely offended me was about two girls, one skinny, the other fat, who went around trying to get with guys, and the fat girl ended up getting, and because I don't want the YouTube algorithm to suppress this video, if I say the actual word, let's just say she gets compromised. So I came out of the theater offended and enraged. I couldn't put into words what I was feeling because as a Korean daughter, I wasn't allowed to do anything but bow my head, obey, and say "ne," which means yes. But now that I've been venting my weekly comic and had practice voicing what I really think, I can say that as a young woman, I was sick of being objectified by misogynist jokes and male-centered storytelling that I was supposed to find hilarious. My friend said, if I was mad, I should make a cartoon about myself. So I did. I stayed up that night drawing the same girl I doodled in my Asian American class. She was the main character of my cartoon that I titled Angry Little Asian Girl the First Day of School. You can see this episode on this channel in the original playlist. I had been taking a video class, so I was able to access editing equipment. After I cobbled it together, I was really ashamed by it. I was ashamed and embarrassed because girls are not allowed to be angry. So I put my cartoon in a drawer and forgot about it. After I finished college, I worked at my mom's dry cleaners. I tried to be an actor and volunteered as a photographer at a film society. It was during this time that friends of mine showed me South Park, The Spirit of Christmas. Watching the VHS tape of kids with potty mouths reminded me of my video of the angry little Asian girl. I played it for my friends who laughed and said I should do more with it. Feeling encouraged, I made 4 more episodes. One evening, when I was the volunteer photographer for the Film Society's Director Q&A, the programmer asked me why I was always there and what I did. I told her I was an actress and a cartoonist and had completed 5 episodes of The Angry Little Asian Girl. She was intrigued and asked me to send it to her. A week later, she called to tell me she loved them and that she would be programming them to play before a feature-length film. On the day of the screening, reviews for The Angry Little Asian Girl had come out in the day's papers. I was stunned to receive such positive reviews. That evening, after the screening, I stood in the lobby with the other director. Person after person came up to me telling me things like, "Angry Little Asian Girl says all the things I wished I could say. I am the Angry Little Asian Girl." That's when a light bulb went off. I would make t-shirts with the angry little Asian girl on it. I called up a sporting store and made baseball shirts, paying with a credit card. 2 weeks later, when I picked up 300 shirts, I panicked, called my friends, and begged them to buy a shirt. My friends wore them out in public, and soon my phone was ringing with requests from people who wanted more shirts. I sold shirts out of the trunk of my car, and with the help of my cousin, launched a website. When the website launched in 1998, it was to post comics and sell shirts. Here are some screenshots of my original site. I had no idea the reaction would be so strong. I sold out of shirts several times over. The website became a destination for Asian Americans to see a more dimensional reflection of themselves. The buzz about my shirts, website, and video got me meetings with studio executives. I thought I was headed to having an animated TV series. But the executives asked me, "Can you take the Asian girl out because there's no market for Asians?" I was really upset about this. I really wanted this big studio deal, but this felt wrong. But then I was fresh out of college, and who was I to pass up a deal like this? Because they were authority figures to me, I thought they knew better than me, and I went along. I was set up on coffee meetings with 5 TV writers. But on these meetings, all I could talk about was the request to take the Asian girl out. Each of the writers told me it was the voice of the angry little Asian girl that made the project so unique. This made me more confused. Why would the executives ask me to take the most unique character out? The last writer, who was the only woman, listened to me worry about the exclusion of my main character, and what she told me was an epiphany. She told me, "Then say no." A woman saying no without any regret is not a big deal for most people, but for an Asian daughter raised in a traditional house, saying no is not allowed. When I told my mother that I wanted to be an artist and would not do any more schooling after college, it was a battle that caused me anxiety and actual physical symptoms. So when this writer told me to say no, it was an epiphany. The writer made me think about what I was being asked to do. I had censored myself in the past by putting the first Angry Little Asian Girl episode in a drawer, and these executives were asking me to hide the Angry Little Asian Girl in a drawer again. But she was the most popular character. I had been selling and shipping shirts to people who wanted to see and wear an Angry Little Asian Girl on t-shirts. Even the 5 writers liked the Asian girl. I thought back to the lecture in college, how Professor Takaki said Asians were invisible in the media. I thought about the sexist cartoons that infuriated me enough to make my own cartoon. I thought about the audience's reaction to the screening. These executives were wrong. This writer gave me the permission I needed to walk away. I said no to the executives and set out to make the Angry Little Asian Girl so well known that I'd never be asked to hide or take her out again. To achieve my goal of getting the Angry Little Asian Girl known, I expanded the comic to include girls of other backgrounds, naming them Angry Little Girls. I incorporated these new characters into the comics, which I posted on my website. Then in 2005, my first book, Angry Little Girls, was published, which went into its 4th printing in 2 months. I made many more books, and soon my characters were on products such as tote bags, stationery, and plush dolls sold in stores across the U.S. In the grand scheme of things, representation in the media isn't as important as food, shelter, water, saving lives like doctors do, or fighting for justice like lawyers do. But after you have your basic needs met, you do want to belong to something and see yourself reflected in the society you live in. I still haven't gotten an animated TV series, but that's a topic for another video. So that's the story of how the Angry Little Asian Girl almost didn't exist. And as I was packing this order to send to a museum shop, I stopped to think about how long this journey has been and how it made a circle of sorts, because the doodle I drew did actually become a doll. So this doll is for me and for any other Asian girl who feels invisible and unheard. This one is for us.